So happy to be sitting down with you.
I'm so happy to meet you too.
Wonderful. Where are you from?
I am originally from Yemen, but born and brought up in the United Arab Emirates. I'm a UAE citizen.
And what is the work that you're doing, and how did you come to this work?
I started with being a private banker, working in Credit Suisse for 9 years, and then I started working with Merrill Lynch. In the 90s, I was a broker and investment banker. It was very, very tough to be an Arabian woman and doing that. And I had a lot of stress, a lot of tension. And in 2000, I learned the art of living breathing technique that helped me really to go deep into myself and switch off all the numbers I was working with all my life and accepting myself. And I decided to, instead of managing people's money, to manage their lives. And I started focusing on women and youth and traveling through the whole Middle East and the Gulf region, empowering women and youth. And from 2003, I saw all the traumas happening to Iraq. I decided I wanted to go and help the women and youth of Iraq. So 2003, I went to Baghdad and started doing trauma relief in Baghdad, in Basra, in Najaf, in Karbala, and empowering women to get rid of the psychosomatic disease that they have gone through, techniques of de-stressing, meditation, and breathing. And after we did that, we went into empowering them. So we started teaching them tailoring, computers, and making for them exhibitions and finding jobs for them so that they can empower and take care of their families. And then every time we're coming with a different way to help women and youth. So we start also doing diplomas for women in banking. Since I was a banker, I saw that a lot of women in the banking sector were not having proper, like, high-end jobs. They were given more of a clerk jobs. So we decided that we want to get them diploma from the University of Jordan and have worked with the finance ministry of Kurdistan and some private banks all around Iraq, in Basra, in Baghdad, in Duhok, Sulaimania, Erbil. We have trained about 500 women in banking, and we did also for them life skills so that they can learn how to get rid of stress, how to deal with their mind, how to deal with their emotion, how to deal with their anger, because nobody teaches us that, neither at home, neither in the university. And this is what we really need to know in our life to become better, to be happy, and to tap into the peace that we are inside, to learn how to go inwards.
And so what is that inward journey like?
It's amazing. I have done it, and it has really made me so strong and made me feel my humanity. That is why I don't mind going anywhere where there is conflict or where there is with prisons or children or juveniles. I go all there to empower them and to make them have hope for the future and spread peace. And when you're peaceful inside, you can only be peaceful out, even if there is war happening outside. You see, when you're peaceful within yourself, the environment doesn't affect you because you will be spreading that peace, that your vibration, your energy is peaceful, and you will not go and kill someone or attack someone because you are peaceful inside and you're happy. When you're happy and peaceful, you will not do that. It's only when you're stressed and angry and tense that you will do all that out of frustration. So from 2014 till now, I have been going to all the conflict areas, especially in Iraq and in Jordan and in the borders of Syria, rehabilitating people who have been traumatized and in conflict zones, doing for them resilience, healing, and getting rid of the stress, rehabilitating them again. And not only the children. We were working with children, we were working with the mothers, we were working with the host community, we were working with the governments and the NGOs. that are dealing with them, because it will become a holistic thing. It will not be only one sector. And 8,000 children we have rehabilitated in Jordan, in Za'atari, in Manshia, in Mafra, in the border between Jordan and Syria, Dafiana. We have been doing for them HRR and HREs, health resilience empowerment programs for children and families, and also in Iraq for the IDPs. We have been also working with them, and I was focusing also on the Yazidis because they have really been very much traumatized. In 2014 August, ISIS have taken the Sinjar mountain, and a lot of women were taken. About 7,000 women were taken away as sex slaves,
like Nadia Murad.
And there were 10,000 stranded in the Sinjar mountain. So with the help of the coalition and the Iraqi government and the Norwegian People Aid, we have taken, and the Barzani Foundation, we have taken about 310 tons of food and airdropped into the Sinjar mountain in different areas. And then in November, I went again myself and went with helicopters and dropped some more food. And after December, it was liberated. So I went actually through the road to the Sinjar and helped the families which were stranded. And then now I am working in the camps in Duhok. There are 24 camps, doing a lot of peace building, conflict resolution, acceptance for the youth and women. Until now, we have done 8 training, out of which 500 youths we have trained. We teach them how to become leaders, how to use their soft skills, how to get rid of anger, how to go to the peace that they are inside, and how to help their society. So now I have 27 trainers. 5 of them are Yazidis, and they are training themselves, older people, and I have about 500 volunteers. They go and they teach the resilience to the camps or to their areas, and then we go as the trainers and we train. So for the last 4 years, every year 6,000 people we train in life skills and trauma relief.
Goodness. So these volunteers are from where? They're from local
From all over Iraq. All over
Iraqis.
Iraqis, yes.
So Iraqis are helping other Iraqis.
Exactly. And especially youth.
Especially youth.
Yeah.
And so the kinds of traumas that you're dealing with. What kind of traumas?
Rape, violence, domestic violence, war, conflict. You know, the ISIS have been in that region in Iraq and Syria for the last now 4 years. And also the Syrian conflict that is happening is 7 years. So it's all the conflict that arises from wars.
And so how is the process going, the rebuilding process? Because
It's a long process, because only now, end of last year, ISIS was driven away, and the whole Iraq united to fight and take them away. A new government have been formed. So a lot of hard work needs to be done. Still, a lot of Yazidis are in camps, and they need a lot of help from the international community. So these girls, they really need to be rehabilitated. They need to have livelihood to support themselves, because all of a sudden they have no parents, no family, nobody to fall back on. And some of them are very young, and young children also. So a lot of help is needed. And then still there are a lot of other areas like minorities, like Christians, Shabak and Kakais also, they don't know where to go back, because still building have to happen and the services have to come back, like water, electricity. Half of Mosul is still devastated and destroyed. Still the bomb squad and the mine squad didn't come in the right side to remove. There's still a lot of landmines there, and still a lot of bodies are still there, not cleared out under the rebels.
So how do
and the destruction.
And the destruction. So let's talk about the destruction. You are helping people build their lives from inside out. There's also the physical rebuilding. there's civil law and civil society coming
What I
back.
am focusing on, I'm focusing on the individual and the human,
And then they
because that is, and then they, when they are empowered, they do.
So talk a little bit about that so we understand what kind of things are happening when they become.
You see, a lot of youths, like I can tell you about some of my youths, which I have trained, like let us say I have 5 Yazidi youth who I have trained. What they're doing is they're finding other Yazidis who need help, and then they help them to empower them and to give them hope, because a lot of the girls, when they were coming back and they had no support, some of them were killing themselves and some of them were going to fight. Now with these Yazidi teachers and trainers that I have, they bring them, they help them to find them all the help they need, clothes, food, even maybe getting their papers in order. And this way they feel strong to start over again. So they are actually going into their societies and helping their societies and accepting to work together, because Iraq has so many different people and minorities. And when I am training them, this is where I always do, that to accept the other and to coexist together, because we are, after all humans, and we have the same needs: love, security, care, and understanding.
So Mawahib, these young women and these youth are not the same people they were before the trauma. What changes in them? Do they become stronger? Because it changes the community when they come back and they're rebuilding their lives. They're not the same people.
They become very strong that a lot of international NGOs, they take them. So actually I supply a lot of strong youth to a lot of organizations. I have like 6-7 youths who did the Peace Ambassador program with us, who are now working for the UN. They're working with Save the Children, with IOM, and with a lot of other, and some of them even made their own NGOs to help their own people. And I feel that the youth are the ones who are going to bring the change, because they have that energy. And once you empower them and you give them all the tools they need, the sky is the limit for them. They are the future.
This is fantastic. So the trauma that you're seeing and the effect that it is having, it doesn't always, let's talk about resilience a little bit. How do you develop resilience as a strategy and a tool? How do you help them develop resilience?
We have an 8-day training. In that 8-day training, we work on, it's a residential training. So we work on, first of all, empowering themselves and getting rid of all the stress and trauma that they have gone through for 4 days. And 4 days, we teach them how to teach this program and give them manuals that they have. And once they train with us for 6 months, then if we see that they are capable to become international trainers, we take them to India, to our centers there, and train them to become international trainers, so that they will in return train their own people and reach out to their own people.
The work that you're doing is...
So we make for them TOT, trainers of trainers.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so they can help their own people. Incredibly empowered.
Yes.
To be able to help your own community.
Exactly.
As well. How do you work with the diversity? How? Because
you see, when you're human, you're human, and we all go through stress and we all go through hard times. So when you teach them to go back inside through techniques of breathing, we teach them also meditation, we teach them some yoga, and we teach them soft skills, their soft skills, how to be leaders, their leadership quality, trust, forgiveness, understanding, all that we teach them in that 8 days.
How do you
training.
work on the forgiveness part? That's the very hard.
You see, once you go into that peace that you are, it's your nature.
To be forgiven.
Yes, it's
no matter what has happened.
Yes, it's your nature, and the Yazidis are very peace-loving, forgiving people, and they have 74 genocides happening to them. This is the 74th genocide that happened to them in 2014, and that's what makes it easy, because they are forgiving and loving. So they forgive and they move on and they want to live, and they want to live in peace, and they want to see their family and to get their families again.
And how are you seeing anything in terms of aggressors and individuals, groups coming together as well? Sort of a peace and reconciliation, or no, separate?
So far aggressors are ISIS. How can they come back together with ISIS?
Is there anyone that's
Not-
defecting back, coming back from that? No. So
No, because they have been pushed out.
Okay, so then they have. I'm just trying to see if what we can learn around peace and incubating peace in an environment.
Accepting what happened to you and tapping into that peace you are, that is the most thing we are focusing on.
Yes.
Once that is established, then when they go back, they spread that
Wonderful.
to the others.
How about education? So
Education is very important, and there are a lot of NGOs who work, but it's need more. We need to help them more, to provide more education and also more health care. That's the two most important thing to also have, because in many places children at the beginning didn't have enough education, so they missed maybe 1 or 2 years of their education. So I really feel in any conflict zone, the thing that is mostly affected is education and healthcare. And especially when you're also living in camp and tents, it's very tough. That climate is so harsh. It's either very cold or very hot. So that also affects them.
So let's talk about the camps. What are you seeing? What are the problems and challenges? They're displaced.
It's very difficult to live in a tent for 4 years, 5 years. They were thinking they will be there for 6 months, 4 months, but when it expands and becomes 5, 6 years, it's very tough. It's not big enough, staying in a tent and you're 5, 6 people, it's a lot. So they need to have their homes rebuilt. They need to have their infrastructure secured and saved so that they can go back and start their life again. And because of the war that has happened and all the problems that was happening, they were not able to go back. So international community really needs to help so that they can go back. If you secure their country and you secure their place where they live, they don't need to be refugees. They don't need to go anywhere. They can be in their own place.
And that's what they want.
And that's what everybody would like. No refugee likes to leave their country, but because they feel that they don't have security, they don't have education, they don't have health, they leave. But if you can provide them their places and help them, nobody would like to leave. Nobody would like to be a refugee. It's imposed on you because you want to live.
And so
wars happen.
Why do you think it's taking so long for the international community to get involved?
I really don't know.
What would you think from your thing?
I think there's so much of conflict going on that sometimes it's difficult maybe to reach to all. But you see, if we teach from a young age to be peaceful and to have that education of taking care of yourself and accepting everyone, then we will not have conflict. So I think it's really important from a young age we teach that. Because once you learn that you are good and you are a human being and accepting other human beings, then you don't need to fight anyone. But when you have a narrow mind and you feel that you're the only one and only your way is the only way, then conflicts happen. And stress, and life is so fast. We should teach children how to get rid of stress, how to be within themselves, how to deal with their mind, how to deal with their emotions. We have to teach them that. Actually, that's much more important than geography, history, psychology, or whatever they learn, or math.
What about the men? Are you doing any work with the men? I know you're
Yes, men also.
What are you doing with the men?
It's part of the family, we do trauma. We do trauma relief for them also.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How is the family structure being built? Because we're thinking systems, and family structure is a cornerstone
We show men that their wives are not the ones who wanted to have rape or to be taken out, because some husbands, their wives have been raped, like the Yazidis. A lot of them have been taken away from their husbands and their children, and they have been raped. So we teach the men that women didn't really want to be raped, and they did not want all that to happen. It's part of war, what happens. And what is important is to come up with laws to protect and to stop that violence against women.
Is there a lot of anger and shame
Of course, there's a lot of
by
anger and
men
shame.
and women?
Of course, of course. Actually, it's a weapon used in war to bring shame to anybody. It has been used so many times in many wars. Always in many wars, the way to shame the the village or the people is through
Why do you
through
think
rape.
that? Why? Why is that so? Speak to that a little bit. Why is this causing so
I
much?
wish I knew. If I knew that, I would have stopped it. If I knew how to stop war, I would stop it. But you see, we have from a young age to teach people how to go within themselves. If we teach them that, if somebody is happy and positive, they will not fight. So this is the only way I see that we can stop hatred, is to let everybody know that they have that peace and how to deal with themselves and their anger, and to go into that peace that they are.
What does
Then they would not be.
what does rape mean in that culture? What is it? I know there is shame.
It's
clearly,
shame. It
but
is shame.
Is it honor? Is what are they trying to?
It is shame. It is dishonor. It's in every culture is like that. It's not only in that region. In everywhere where rape happened, if you see World War One, World War Two, also rape was there. It's always used as a tactic of war.
For it is a violent act. It's not a
Yes.
sexual act.
It's a violent
It's a
act.
violent act.
Yes, it's a
Do
violent
they
act.
accept that it is a violent act? The families that this has happened to their mother, or
If there are laws and regulations that says that and punishes the perpetrators, then yes.
do they feel there has been punishment, or no? Just ISIS has been pushed out,
Exactly.
but there is no justice yet.
That's some of them, they feel like that. Especially the Yazidis feel that justice have not been given to them, and they have not been protected enough by the international community.
So let's talk a little bit about where you get this courageous heart. You are like a lioness. How are you so strong and courageous?
You know, I have learned the art of living, which is the breathing
Yes.
and meditation. And our founder, Shushi Ravi Shankar, he himself is an advocate of peace, and he's my role model,
And he's your guru.
and he's my guru. Yeah.
And there's an ashram that you belong to. Is there-
We have lots of ashrams and lot of centers.
Okay. And so this group, the International Association for Human Values, is part of that group.
He's the founder
Of this.
of this, yeah, which is the charitable hand of. We have two sister organizations. We have the International Association for Human Values, which is the charitable side based in Switzerland, and then we have the Art of Living, which is the educational side, where we have a lot of the education, teaching, empowerment, leadership, youth leadership, all that. So it's
So you
two together, and he's the founder of
Of
both.
let's talk a little bit
And he
about
has been working and advocating for 37 years peace, and has been instrumental
yes.
in a lot of peace negotiations, especially for the FARC. He was the instrument to make them lay their weapons. He was also in 2007 in Iraq mediating between the Sunnis and the Shia. And he has been always talking about peace and saying that once you are peaceful within, you can only spread. But you need to have a broad vision and accepting and knowing that the whole world is your family. Then there will be no hatred. There will be no wars, no conflict. But then you need to broaden your mind. And he always says these days our smile is expensive and our anger is cheap. But it should be the other way around. It should be our smile cheap and our anger expensive.
So this sounds very much like a spiritual solution.
Exactly. We need to go to our spirituality. And our spirituality, we can go and feed our spirit through meditation. We always feed our mind and our body, but we don't feed our spirit. And meditation is the food for feeding your spirituality.
So it is
and you go beyond religion, beyond nationality, and beyond borders. Because we are a spirit in a body.
And so the people you're working with, these wonderful communities, their religion is going to be different, and they're still open to this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
you see your breath, we teach breathing techniques. Your breath has no religion. Correct? I can't say this is my breath and this is your breath. We are all breathing. Why do we focus on breath? Because breath and emotions are connected. How? When you are angry, you breathe very fast. When you're sad, you feel you can hardly breathe. And when you're happy, you think you're flying. So when you change the way of your breath, automatically you change your emotions. Your mind, you cannot catch it, but through the breath you can make it in the moment. So it's very easy technique that can make you very balanced, and you can go deep within yourself. So if you do meditation every day, it's like calming your mind. And when you have a calm mind, you have a creative mind. Because you're coming out of the space of calmness. But when you're so stressed and you always have to take decisions when you're stressed and tense, there's no way you can take the right decision. And that's what happens to us every day, because we are so stressed, we cannot take the right decisions. But when you're coming from a peaceful mind and you're happy, you can only spread that. And that is how I feel, because every day I do my breathing and I do this, I feel I'm happy and content. That's why I can go and reach out to anybody, anywhere around the world, especially in the conflict zone, because I'm coming with love. And when you come with love, nobody can attack you. They only let you help them. And that's how I can go anywhere, and I'm not scared to go anywhere. And when I see them transformed, that really makes my day. And then I forget about all the hardship and the tough time I go through, because I know that I have put a smile on their faces, and I made them happy. So I think we should spread more positivity around the world, and we should open centers for happiness and peace. Why not?
We've tried everything else. Why not that, right? So.
And it is our nature. Mm-hmm. If you see somebody falling in front of you, what's the thing you will do naturally? Give your hand. So it's our nature. Our nature is peace and love. That's our nature. So every time we get stressed, if we go back inside, we tap again into that source that we are. And that's why it's important to meditate, to take time for yourself.
And so as you're meditating, you are developing your capacity.
Silence, also you're going into silence. When your mind is silent, you can do anything.
What does that mean? Talk to that a little bit more. Because that's what you're teaching the youth and the women and families.
I teach them, first of all, to get rid of the stress and it's what happens to war victims is they have psychosomatic disease. And that disease, what it does, it makes them away from reality. So you have to rehabilitate them to get them back to reality. And once you get them back to reality, then it's easy to empower them and teach them something. So this is how we do. First, we empower them. We make them go out of the trauma that they have faced. And then we teach them a livelihood or a vocational that they can support themselves.
So
because if somebody is very stressed and very traumatized, it's very difficult. Whatever you tell them, they will not understand. So you have to rehabilitate them and
Help them
give
get a
them
new normal.
resilience, you give them healing,
Yeah.
and you give them to be back to themselves again. Once you are in yourself, it's
Things are
easier
easy.
then to.
So their normal was at a certain level, the trauma is at a different level, then there's a new normal, and that becomes their baseline, right? This is from where they will operate.
But then you need to every day to teach yourself and to practice it.
Yes. That would
It's
be
like
the
when
advice.
you go to the gym and you want to have muscles, you have to every day go. So the same thing, every day you're stressed, every day you have to cleanse your mind and your emotion. Like you wash yourself from outside, you need to wash everything from inside
Do you
every
feel,
day.
Would you feel comfortable giving a mini demonstration? We're going to be using this for our own internal evaluation of this whole program.
It's very difficult.
It's very
If you like, we can do training for you. We have our centers also in the US.
okay.
We have one of our big centers in Boone. Yeah.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to share about the work that you're doing and the collaboration? Are you working with the government, with other nonprofits?
I am for our projects. We are accredited by the UN to do economic and social welfare, and we have been working with the European community. We have been working with the State Department, World Bank, and here we are also in cooperation with the Oslo Peace Week, and hopefully we'll be also collaborating with the Peace Commerce Group. So I'm always happy to. The more we are, the more we are powerful, and the more we can bring peace. And we are all, when you have the same mind, same people who work for peace, if we are all together, it's very easy to make that peace happen fast.
So
And we really need
yes.
to work hard.
And the
fast.
collaboration, is it
Yes.
easy collaboration? Does it build over time when you collaborate with all these groups?
All the time, because we are all doing the same thing. So if we can all do together and each one does the specialization they have, why not?
Is there anything you would like to share?
I'd like to thank you for having me here, and I would like to say that give peace a chance.